And then the funniest thing, I went,
best story ever. So anyway, I was walking it, and then he said,
"Oh,
that's the
good.
best.
That
That's
was
the best
funny.
ever."
That was funny. I hope everybody had a good laugh listening to that story.
Oh man, that touched my heart.
That was good. Oh, heart is fluttering.
I laughed.
It's going to take a little bit of
I laugh from
tuning
right
it in here
I laugh from right here.
from your throat.
Yes.
You're a
Yeah,
throat
really?
laugher?
You know that story, right?
No.
Yeah. The guy in Bible college, I called him Smiley. That was his nickname. He never smiled. Knew him for 2 years. He never smiled or laughed. And so I started calling him Smiley, and he came up to me one day. He's like, "Why are you calling me Smiley all the time? I'm hearing it from all these people." I'm like, "Because you never smile. You never laugh. I've never seen you smile or laugh." And he's like, "I laugh from right here."
In his throat?
And he didn't smile. He's like, "That's where I laugh from." So I like gave him some of my best like jokes and stuff. And then he's like, "That was funny. That's really funny."
That's really creepy.
I know it is. And then he walked away. I'm like, "What?" And he wonders why I call him Smiley.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, "I'm dying inside." Yeah. Look, it pulsated. You can see the laughter. And that'd even be more weird. Like if that part of it actually was like, like you could see it. Yeah. I'd be like, I don't even want to make you laugh. That's weird. Yeah. Smiley, if you're listening, we don't apologize.
Oh, you're really laughing. Yes, I am.
That was really funny. Close your eyes, honey. You don't want to see this.
I still remember his name.
Oh, I don't know if you should say it on here.
It's being recorded. But yeah,
tell me later.
He was a really nice guy. He just never
bear with me.
Smiled.
We're good. We're good, son. So yeah, I think we're all super excited to get this thing going. It sounds like your main point of doing this is so that our congregation get to know each other and be deeper in fellowship.
Yeah, we want
like that.
Basically, fellowship to just occurs naturally when you're talking to people, but specifically want to cultivate more conversations, I guess, to be had during church, because a lot of people have 5-10 minutes afterwards, after the service or in between greeting time, which is only 3 minutes, which is not a lot of time. So I was just thinking about that, like maybe this will get more conversation happening during those times too, than just, "Hey, how are you? Good. All right. Well, I'll see you afterwards, I guess." Let's sit down. And but so I'm hoping it'll cultivate more conversations between people.
So for instance, it could be like, "So Pastor Noah, you talked about Smiley. Tell me his name." Or, whatever. Like it could just be like,
"Tell me his name.
I want to know."
Off record.
First initial, the first name starts with an M.
Oh, that's a teaser right there. So those of you listening, just know.
M or N.
M.
Like mother.
Like mama.
Eminem. Well, how come all of us just came up with 3 different, like, there was no standard for the M. Did you notice that?
Like,
I don't know all of the
patriarchal. I'm sorry, matriarchal. Sorry.
You have a weird relationship with your parents, don't you?
That's weird.
Awkward.
Very awkward. Okay, well, we've edited Pastor Noah out of this podcast.
What's this?
All right, you're done.
Yes, indeed.
No, but I guess I want to kind of get some of your stories, I guess, that you have, some of your past. I know you've shared a lot of it on Sundays, but I think it's really cool what you've gone through and to where you are now. And I know you have lots of stories, some good, some bad, some funny.
Like trusting in Christ? Like,
yeah, whatever. Wherever you want to start. I know you had a rough growing up, so if you want to start there, talk about that. And
so I'm actually ready.
You're prepared with your
yes
greasy handkerchief. Pocket lint.
It's already been used. I cried just saying hi to you this morning.
I don't remember that. Oh, that's where the wet spot came from.
Yeah. It's uncontrollable weeping. I should never say hi to Pastor Noah again.
People will start not to.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you a story that I've never told before because
Yeah, do it.
I'm kind of ashamed of it in a
Mm.
way. But and it just kind of an idea where I was before I came to know the Lord. Um, so I was in Scientology as well as uh, part of that was I worked, or yeah, I guess I'd say worked. Um, I was learning martial arts and I was about to get my black belt. And so I'm kind of cruising along with it. And I was going out with this gal and she really wanted to go to a Boston concert, the group
Mm.
Boston. And so I'm like, okay. So I got the tickets, we went. And so the concert's over and we're walking out and it's really crowded. It was at the old McNichols, the Big Mac
Oh,
Arena.
yeah.
And
It's the old
so
McNichols Arena,
so
man.
somebody pinched her on the rear
Oh.
and she kind of turns around, she looks at me, and the guy passed her, and she's like, that guy just pinched me
Hmm.
in my rear end. And I was like, and I just went ballistic because I had no self-control. And so I literally grabbed the guy and I grabbed him on his shoulders. As you notice,
You must have
my
been
hands are up,
pretty big.
up. So I grabbed him on the shoulders and I whipped him around. And I was so focused on him. I'm like, what'd you do to my girl? And he immediately, as he looked down at me, he was probably about 6'4". Yeah, he was a good sized dude.
That's
And
And
he
you're
looked
what
down at
at
me and
that time?
he's like, what the? And he just started swinging at me. And
How
so
tall were you then?
same as I am now,
Just what, like
5'10".
5'10"?
And so he just started swinging and immediately like the martial arts kicked in and I'm just like I'm kind of going with the punches. So he's just missing me. And he throws about 15, 20 punches and he finally stops. And because he's kind of worn out because he's catching air. And I'm like, okay, now it's my turn. Well, unbeknownst to me, I'm not paying attention. Like it occurred to me, oh, one, I think he was walking with another dude. I think he's got a friend and I don't know where he's at. And two is,
Oh,
now there's a crowd and there's probably 100 to 200 people in a circle. And I hear all these people, it's a fight. It's a fight, what was it? The east side of that Nichols arena. And so they're crowding around. I'm like, okay, it's my turn. I'm gonna jack this guy up. And so I started getting my stance, and then I look at his eyes, and I had exceptionally good eyesight at that time. It was like 10/20. So I'm looking at his eye, and his pupils are dilating.
huh.
And it occurred to me the only time that happens is when you're really excited. And I'm like, well, he's not throwing any punches. Oh, the other dude, where's he at? So I thought, I think he's behind me. And so I swung around, and as I was swinging around, I could hear the crowd say, "Oh, he's got a knife." Well, I don't have a knife, so I'm thinking, and the guy I'm looking at doesn't have
Uh-oh.
one. I'm like, "Oh my goodness!"
Somebody
So
does.
he ends up kind of swinging like this. I swing around and catch his arm, and his natural flow is to go, and it was like uh, like
Oh,
a
man,
Bowie
like a
knife.
Rambo knife.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was
It's
a really
not a
big
knife. This is a knife.
It's just a
Yeah,
knife.
that's right. Crocodile Dundee. And so he comes, and then for some reason, something inside of me, and I do believe it was the Lord, like physically altering what I was doing. But I was just like, I grabbed it here, had his arm, popped his elbow, and I was just going to have that going and stab him. But for some reason, something told me to just pull back, and so it just went in, and it went in about an inch
Oh, yeah.
and it went through his because it was winter, and so it went through his shirt, and he had a T-shirt on too. It's funny how you remember these things. And it went in, and it started bleeding, but he couldn't do anything about it because I had his hand held
Mm.
on it
Dang.
inside, and he starts to kind of cry,
Mhm.
and he's like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me.
Mhm.
And um, so I let go of his arms. And so, and he dropped the knife, and right then, you could hear the people in the crowd like, "Oh, the cops! Denver cops are here!"
Mm.
And so I'm like, oh my God. So he's like holding him his little cut. He just leaves the knife and he runs with his friend away. And I'm like, hey, I told him where I was parked. Come out. I'd like to take care of the business. And so the cops grabbed me, and because they thought I was the instigator, but the crowd's kind of like, they were really like on my side. It was really kind of sweet. They're like, no, it's those two guys. You should be chasing those two guys. And like, he's just defending himself. He was just starting to get down. And I just remember that. He's getting down. He's getting dizzy.
It's crazy.
And so that just doesn't end the story. And so in the early 90s, this is before our third child was born, our son. My two girls are, they're like elementary school and younger. And so I'm working this construction site, and it's really hot. It's like a little over 100 degrees, and we're taking the roofing off outside on top of this house. And the guy I was working for, he had to hire some extra people, and so there's another guy up on the roof, and I just thought, man, I'm gonna share the Lord with this guy. I'm just gonna start sharing with him, and
that's nice.
and so at lunch I go over and sit by him, and get my igloo out and start pulling out sandwich and eating and start sharing with him, and he kind of cracks up and he's like, no, I know the Lord, and so we just started to get in this really good conversation.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's like really hot. So we're wearing t-shirts, so we take our t-shirts off because we're on a roof and it's like just blazing, right? So
you guys are just wanting to show off your muscles. So that's good.
Really jacked, Pastor Noah.
Yes,
people would like to see a picture of that.
Incredibly jacked.
Yeah, if we can post that next Sunday, that'd be great.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Give me a body and put my face on it. But
do
anyway,
Terry Crews or something.
I asked him.
Like I was really tan back then.
Yes, yeah. What was 100 degrees?
Working outside,
so
it worked out.
The roof.
Fried like an egg.
So he was. I asked him. I said, "How did you come to know the Lord?" And he said, "Well, my mom led me to Christ when I was really little." And he said, but there's something that really happened dramatic in my life. I went to this Boston concert, and he starts telling me this story about this guy, and he was trying to knife this guy with a friend that he was at, but ended up turning the other way. And I thought, he doesn't recognize me, but he did look familiar to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, he doesn't recognize me. And so he's talking. I thought, you know what? If this is truly the guy, he'll have a scar because it went in deep enough that he'll have a scar. And so, we have our shirts off. So I looked down, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's got a scar like right there. And it was so bizarre. And I thought, I am never going to tell him. I even still remember his name too. His name was Abel.
Oh, wow.
Which is really a different, to have that as a first name, but super neat guy.
So you would have been Cain.
Yeah, I was Cain.
Rising up against.
I was bringing the cane. Yeah. So I thought it was just a cool thing. It was a reaffirmation later that not only had I made the right decision about Christ and trusting in Him as my Savior, but it was also that God every once in a while lets things come back just to show you, like, I want to show you how, even when you're an unbeliever, how that touched and did things by, and I really think the Lord kept me from doing what I naturally wanted to do. But, the guy was just like, yeah, that was impactful. The exact next day I broke off friendship with that guy. And he said, I've just been following the Lord ever since, met this great gal, got married, got 3 kids. And it was just a
sweet
really
story.
cool thing to see that.
What's crazy to me is that you can actually could defend yourself. I don't know if you can, but against like a knife. That's like movie stuff that you see.
Cool.
It's just like you could actually stop people from like stabbing you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like defend against knives.
He wasn't the sharpest. Not that I'm, well, when you.
His knife or
he wasn't. You don't stab somebody like this. You come
That's what you
from within.
train for though too, right? Is if people.
Yeah.
Because like they probably aren't familiar with correct stabbing techniques.
And that's one of the reasons why
stabbing class.
I really love this podcast, because we we don't just talk about people's lives and their theology. We're going to share with you how you can murder somebody. And
Krav Maga.
if you're
What did
going to
you
go
used to
with
do?
the knife, you don't go this way. It's this, people.
Yeah, in
It's this.
and out.
So you
and
want
out.
inside
Just-
body,
yes,
2
it's
hands if you
very
can.
Not round. Round.
You know, as you were telling that story, I kept thinking of the Flash, like the comic book hero, like especially with the first guy. And all I could imagine is Pastor Noah, like the guy throws a punch and it all of a sudden becomes slow motion to you because you're like an amazing martial artist and you're like, and you like look back at him.
Yeah, how does that compute
then it comes
in
back.
somebody's in your brain like that? Like when you, because I imagine training is different than actually experiencing a knife coming at like somebody trying to do that. How does that process? Does it slow down almost? Because I know when adrenaline gets pumping, like sometimes you don't even know what happens. But what is that like when you're actually like being attacked for the purpose of like physical harm? What do you think? What is that?
You practice.
Process.
I mean, you do. Because when I was in that cult in Scientology, I lived at a house. He had the guy that owned all these studios had, I don't know, 3, 5 houses, whatever. And they were all guys. And you lived in the house and it was only guys. They fed you, though it was really not good. They got milk and Wonder Bread. You remember that?
Yeah.
Great for sopping
Love
up
Wonder
water.
Bread. Can't have it anymore, but I love it.
Yeah.
And peanut butter
Sad,
and
yeah.
jelly. And that's all they got. And
Wow.
so when they weren't feeding you, which wasn't much, you were just constantly practicing. So you were always practicing as far as, okay, a guy would have like a stick that would, made out of wood, a knife.
Imitate a knife.
Okay, yeah. What will you do with this? What will you do with this? And so you go through all that.
Is it different though? Like when you're in the moment? Like, are
No,
you
it's
like,
anything.
oh, it's just
you
normal.
practice. You practice enough.
So you're just mentally prepared for
Yeah,
it. It's
you
just
just-
like
you
practice
kinda
again
do
for
it.
you.
Your muscle
Yeah.
memory picks up on it.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You've been doing it so much that it's just almost natural to like this is
Yeah.
what we do.
Well,
It's like playing basketball, right?
Mm.
You don't need to have somebody show you how to shoot.
Yeah.
You kind of know. Okay, guy's a little bit of a distance. I'll just
Yeah.
put it up.
Yeah, I guess that's true because you train without people.
Mhm.
And then when you get time, it's kind of just kicks in and it's muscle memory or mind memory, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
That's just
Both.
crazy though. Did you ever fight somebody with a gun?
No.
No.
I'm
He
pretty
looks like he
glad.
wants to.
No.
But if I could,
It's like,
anybody,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, if it was a rifle, that would be pretty sweet. Yeah. It's like, okay, now. But no, never.
Do you
Like
ever
I-
see like movies and stuff where people are like fighting, like pretend fighting, and you're like, are you critical of things like that? You're like, that's not how you do that. You wouldn't do that like that. Or somebody who, the whole Black Widow jumping on top of them, spinning them around, landing back on your feet thing.
Yeah, doing the 360 in the air
Yeah.
and landing. Yeah.
Are you super critical of stuff like that, or do you just kind of enjoy it for the movie?
More so
for
with
what
the
it is?
verbiage, it's
okay.
like, so you are, that's
You're
one,
talking
more
like
critical.
the dubbing over stuff, but the fighting stuff doesn't bother you at all.
No, it's not like that. It's more like what you see, like like what I was taught was more close. It was like you used your legs to keep somebody away, but if they were close, you don't use legs anymore unless it's your knees. You try to do something closer to them, like a pressure point, like a nerve, like right back here. Or there's one underneath the armpits, and when you get those and your fingers are strong enough, they actually can make people do things that they don't want to do. It's really weird. Like under the armpits, if your fingers are strong enough and you work on stuff to exercise your fingers, you grab somebody under here, you can actually get them to go on their knees and they can't stand.
Or if you're
really crazy,
like 25 years older than the child that you're using pressure points on, like our dad used to do to us. He felt like a big, strong man doing that, taking down 5, 6-year-olds, dropping them
And
like flies.
Look, if if we're gonna be honest, our
kids
you
laying on
want
the
some
ground.
of this? I'll give
our
you
kids,
some.
hey, our kids were like Lord of the Flies, man. I had to do something to defend myself,
It
and
wasn't
that's
that bad.
exactly what I did. And I did. I have no regrets about that. I was amazing at that too. I could find pressure points anywhere. I'd just sit there and mess with my kids. But let's do this, and they'd just come at me, and I'd be like, "Hey, what about this pressure point right here?"
He's like, "You guys want to wrestle a little bit?" Like, "Yeah, we'll wrestle." All right, come on, come at me. Boom,
Sure.
drop me. Ah! I think you broke my arm. Just a pressure point. Stop being a baby.
Hey, you're such a wimp. I just, yeah, he's whining about it now, but yeah, it was good times. They
And
had
he's like
fun.
massaging us on our shoulder or whatever it is. He's like, and they just start pushing on a spot and be like, ah! He's like, oh, yep, that's one too.
He misses.
Yeah, you found
that
a good job, Dad.
it was a training thing. I was trying to train them so they can use that with other people because you never know when you need to use a good training
after that.
point. I mean, your story just backs that theory up. So you never know, son. So me dropping you down to your knees was
That wasn't very.
it was in the
loving of
Lord's
you.
plan, son. That's what it was. It was in the Lord's plan.
There's a lot of damage I can see that has been overtaking.
Do you
Jared
think
here.
Yes, indeed.
Christ had some fighting techniques he would use?
He had to
Do
been
you
the
think he
ultimate fighter.
trained
I don't think
for like pressure points and stuff? He's like, I'm not gonna hurt you, but if you come
Yeah.
close, I'll drop you to your knees.
Well, like so, I'm preaching coming up, right? Because I actually was thinking that. So I'm preaching coming up with Jacob,
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah,
believe he was
wrestling.
literally wrestling because that Hebrew word it means to kick up dust, and so it actually means like it's physical. Something's physical as well as going on. But all he has to do is he just touches his hip area, and all of a sudden he's limping, and it's like. Because he's Christ incarnate at that point.
Yeah. So what does that
So-
even look like with like touching it? Do you think it was like an actual like just supernatural thing that occurred? Or do you
Yeah.
think it was something that he did like
I think it's
within the
supernatural.
physical, just like boom, chiropractored him to the ground? It's like, I know every bone in your body. I know every hair on your head. Just
And all he
pop
wanted
out
them
his
to do
tip.
is just let go of him.
Mm.
But Jacob was so fervent, like, I'm
Mm.
grasping, I will not let you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was, Christ obviously would have no issue. He's not hurting, Jacob's not hurting him, but it's
No.
just like, okay, enough's enough.
Does it
Yeah.
say in there why the wrestling starts?
It actually does in Hosea chapter 12. He kind of gives you, I think it's like verse 4 or something, but it talks about how there was a whole lot of praying going on.
Mm.
Not only the physical, we only in Genesis see the physical, but we know there was a whole lot of conversation going on. And I think Jacob was just struggling. He was in a really cool place for that to happen to him.
Yeah.
So I think, because Abraham kind of had the same issue. Isaac kind of had the same issue as far as lying. But what they did with their fear was not healthy, what they did with their wives. But in this passage, I think it really shows what Jacob did with his fear, and he totally did it the right way. I think it's a really dynamic little passage. Yeah. I mean, he's very intricate. My brother Esau, I'm going to send out, not one in a group, all these presents to him. I'm going to send out these little, I'm sending out the camels and then the cattle and then the lamb. And he was just very smart how he did it. He thought through his fear, and then he just brings it to the Lord, which is really cool. And then the Lord shows up, and he already showed up in the beginning, because the beginning it talks about Jacob and God kind of showing him without verbally saying it. Hey, I'm supporting you. I want you to see the host of these angels. And there was angels that surrounded him, but there's nothing talked about as far as a conversation. And he's just like, he had to have known God is like, God's here. He's got my back. But then for him now to up it and actually appear to him, converse with him,
Yeah.
Jacob to pray, and even kind of like, man, I'm not going to let you go until you give me a blessing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this is way better than the blessing that he had from his father, that he kind of finagled a little bit, and this is like the blessing of blessings.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the blessing was. It never says,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was something pretty special. He had an awesome relationship at that point.
I do think that I think Jesus is like the kung fu master. Pretty sure Jesus obviously take anybody out, but he had to have been absolutely amazing.
I mean, if we take anything from Chuck Norris, he was probably
Yeah, that's true.
better than that.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris was the man, so
Chuck Norris, man, he could do anything. It was amazing.
I love Chuck Norris jokes. I think those are some of my favorite.
Yeah, they are good.
It's like, what was my favorite one? It was I can't remember any of them now. I don't know if you guys have any jokes, but it was something about camera, something. I can't think of any of the jokes right now. Me and Josh would always send them back to each other. I was like, that's so dumb.
There's so many of them too.
Yeah, there's
so many of them.
They are good though. They are definitely good.
I gotta look this up because it's one
It's
of
gonna
my
bug you.
favorites.
If not,
Yeah, I remember one where it was told of him as far as he was running a marathon.
Hmm.
It was really funny, but I can't remember it.
Oh, here.
Yeah, because they all had the same kind of ending. Because he's
yeah.
Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
When God said, that's not when God said, "Let there be light," Chuck Norris was there to flip the switch. And then Josh was like, Chuck Norris took a picture of the first camera ever made. I said Chuck Norris bought first class tickets to see the Wright brothers' new invention.
That's pretty
It's
good.
the impossibility of things that happen that Chuck Norris can do, man.
Yes.
Is that dude dead yet? Is he still
No.
living?
He's still living.
He's still alive.
That's crazy. He was like 160 years old.
What was that product that he sold? Was it the
Total Gym.
Total Gym. That's
Actually,
right.
I've got it.
Does that work out?
That's right.
I
What is
like it. Yeah. I've been using it for a long time.
Yeah, that thing has been around forever.
Hmm.
And he's just, I'm pretty sure that Chuck Norris could take anybody out on planet Earth right now. I feel pretty confident about that.
Still.
Yes, I think so.
I'm surprised he didn't get more fame, like a little more recently, like within the past 10 years, just because of how big of a star he is, and like how like the jokes and everything.
Yeah,
Like, that'd be an awesome movie if they came out with a movie that was just Chuck Norris, all of his jokes that people make. It's like everything that he does.
It's funny. What the night before I got married, all the guys that stood with me, all the groomsmen, they took me out to, what was it, Lone McQuaid? I think that was the name of it. But anyway, it was.
I don't know what that is.
It was like his first movie that he came out with.
Yeah.
For the night before Jackie and I got married. It was pretty cool. This little town.
That's cool.
It's like, oh man, I get to see Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris on the big screen.
That's right.
You have to be an amazing just person for people to just like start this whole thing about jokes. Like there has to be pretty amazing.
That's what I'm saying, because like Bruce Lee didn't have that.
No.
None of the Expendables have that.
They're expendable.
They're on. Did you like those movies?
I saw the first one, I think.
I don't think I've seen any of them.
Yeah, I saw the first one. They're interesting.
They just keep going with it. It's like Rambo.
Yeah.
It's like they're just gonna keep going that, and it's a car Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious, like 23 or something, right?
Yeah.
How many face replacements have you guys had to do? Because a lot of these actors are, in their 50s now. And there's no way they're real all the time.
Yeah.
They have to be CGI just walking.
You know what though? You know who a pretty amazing actor is, like that does his own stunts still, is Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that guy.
He's a Scientologist too.
Yeah.
Or he's in Scientology.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is. But.
Probably. I haven't heard that he's left them. I've only heard a couple of them actually leave the Scientology. I mean, as far as like star folks. That one lady from Remney or whatever it is from King of Queens.
Yeah.
The wife on there, she was in Scientology and left it, and came out all against it, and they kind of went on the attack on her, the Scientology. So, What happened?
They're
with
the definition of if you want to make money, start a religion.
Yeah,
That's their thing.
That's Scientology. He like wrote a science fiction book.
Ron L.
I'm
Hubbard.
not making this up. But
Yeah.
he wrote a science fiction book, and it became religion. It's just crazy.
And he's the one that is credited with that quote. If you want to become rich, start a religion.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
It was him. Yeah, it was actually him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually met him. That's one of my many stories. So actually, when I was doing the martial arts thing, I was actually being trained to be one of his bodyguards. He lived on a ship, a rather large ship, in international
too, huh?
water. But when he was on land, he had a few guys that kind of watched over him, and so he used the place that I studied at to be his, in the rotation of his bodyguards. But yeah, one of the things is I'm living in this house, I was previously talking about, and I'm in the basement, and there's two of us in the basement, and I still remember the guy's name. I don't remember his last name, but it was Tim. Really neat guy, really knew his stuff, and but he was a Christian, but he didn't let anyone know. And so I'm not a Christian, obviously, and he would hide his Bible underneath his mattress of his bed. And so, like the first night I was with him, he's like, "Yeah, just you won't snitch on me, will you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he pulls out this Bible. He's like, "Well, I'm a Christian." And he starts sharing with me, which I thought was really, really a cool thing.
Yeah.
As I look back at it, and so he would read his Bible every night, and then he would hide it again. Well, it didn't take too much time. Someone knew about that Bible, and I don't know who. It wasn't me, but so L. Ron Hubbard comes in town, and the guy that was over all these dojos was not only training guys to help him, but he also gave a lot of money. He actually ended up serving like 20 some years for fraudulent activity, but with IRS got him.
Go IRS.
Little plug there.
Yeah. So
You can do your thing now if you want
to. So anyway, he was in town, and everybody thought it was me that had the Bible, and so he called me in, and he sat a table not too different from this, just about a little smaller, and he was across from me, and I was on this side. And before I went even in to talk to him, the main guy that was over all these dojos said, "Do not say anything to him unless he asks you a question. You're not allowed to talk to him." I thought, weird, yeah, because this guy's like the Messiah, right? And so when he talked, he had this unusual thing, like his bottom lip would get really wet, and so he would kind of spray you a little bit. It's like he would, just the way he talked. And so he's kind of spraying me a little bit for about 20 minutes or so. He's just railing on me. And his big thing is, "Why are you reading the Bible?" He didn't ask if it was me. He just assumed it was me, which I thought it was just weird. And I'm like, I'm not going to betray Tim, but he's like, the Bible is such a joke. It's full of just stories. There's not any truth to it. And he starts cussing, and he's just railing on and on. And he just keeps going and going. And, he's kind of spraying me a little bit. And I couldn't say anything. And I couldn't say, "Well, I don't know. That's not me." And so he gets up and walks away. And my thought of that 20 plus minute conversation was, this guy's supposed to be the Messiah, but yet he's intimidated by the Bible. And I thought, wow, what must the Bible like? That's incredible. It must have some
So
substance.
even before you were a believer too, right? So
right.
it's still
Yeah. I'm like, wow,
kind of
I got to
convicting.
read this thing. I mean, there's something to it. If he's supposed to be the hot shot, and then he's so intimidated by the Bible, I'm like, yeah, there's got to be something to it. And so
That's a good point.
But and it wasn't too far after that I trusted in Christ. So there were different things going on. So, but
That would have been a big push toward that, though.
yeah, Yeah.
Met the big wig, the big
Yeah.
shot.
Did you shower afterwards with the shower that he gave you?
Well, we weren't allowed to have a whole lot of clothes, right?
Uh,
So, pretty much 7 days a week, most of the day we had gis on and sandals. We didn't really have shoes. And so I took the gi, and after he walked out, it's just like, oh my goodness.
Why didn't he
I'm
spit
like,
off?
my goodness. And people, and some people would say, well, wow,
Disrespectful.
man, he spit on you. Isn't that cool? Like,
Ugh.
no, that's not cool.
gross.
Not really, no.
So it's a
We know
form
some
of,
people like that though.
Yeah.
Spitty people.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just like
I do it on occasion, but not consistently.
there are some people that are just real water mouths, I guess you could say.
Watermouth.
We'll coin that term. They just come
Watermouth.
up and just, just spit goes flying.
I always get, when you preach, you get excited, and sometimes that happens. And I really feel
Splash
bad.
zone.
Yeah, it's the splash zone. I feel bad for the front row. And that's usually the worship team. The worship team usually sits in the front. And so they not only serve as leading in worship, but they serve as a barrier for the rest of the
Right.
congregation. It works out really good.
It's
They are the splash pad.
it's
So
Gallagher preaching.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but yeah, no, it's
Give
good.
everybody a towel in the front row
Yes.
or a
Hey,
little trash can
by the way,
or a
going-
trash bag they can put over themselves.
That's what we should do.
Get some white trash bags they can put over there.
I was actually wondering, did Tim ever get found out from the?
I never found. I tried to search for him, but I just couldn't remember his last name.
And how did he get involved? Like, did he become a believer while he was already in it?
No,
Do you
I
even
think he
know?
was a believer before, but he was very discreet on who he shared with.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like people that he knew wouldn't turn him in
sure. Yeah.
because they would have jacked him up. I mean, he would have got beat up really bad.
Oh, that's the roommate guy you're talking about?
Yeah,
Tim.
yeah. They didn't like that
Tim.
idea. They didn't really like you dating anybody. They just
Mm.
wanted you at their bidding
disposal.
to do everything,
Mm.
and so, but yeah, and when we would go to like drive-ins and stuff, and drive-ins that we knew that were a little hostile.
Mhm.
They weren't family ones necessarily that we knew, oh man, there's going to be a lot of cowboys here, or, this ethnic persuasion or that one. And just like we knew that if we went, that somebody would probably start a fight with us so we could kind of practice. Or we'd go to bars and stuff and not nice bars, so we
Looking
know.
for a fight.
Yeah. I typically didn't start it, but we knew somebody probably would with us, because we
Mhm.
probably looked a little different.
Especially if you walked in
yeah.
with your gi.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't do that.
The
but
sandals
when you
probably
only-
caused a lot of trouble at those
When you-
bars.
You only have like one
Your
change.
flip-flops.
It looks so weird. Like you have like 5 pairs of underwear and you have one change of clothing besides your gi, and that's all you have. You
Oh, man.
might have a pair of shoes that are not sandals. Yeah. Which would look odd in the winter,
Yeah.
You didn't get anything else like for wintertime? Just sandals?
Well, we had a coat. We had one coat. Yeah. They just didn't allow you to have much attire.
What was there? Do you know what the reason for that was?
I
Just
don't
no contact
know.
with the
I don't
outside
know.
world, like an extra
Mhm.
pair of Levi jeans would like cause you to be like, "And I'm not sure about this whole Scientology thing. I mean,
You're
man,
consumed
I look
with
at Levi
apparel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't really need a whole lot of furniture,
Mm.
Like you had like a little dresser, but you didn't have a whole lot in it. So it was just weird. You never really hung up,
Did you get a bed at least?
Yeah.
Or a hammock or something?
Got a bed.
A
That's
bedroll, a
pretty much it.
banana bedroll?
Little mat
Banana
for
leaf?
sitting on the ground.
Right.
This is great.
You have to sleep sitting up.
This mat's awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
When I was in the military, it reminded me of like how many pairs of underwear you got. Like same thing when I was in the military, they give you your battle dress uniform, and you get like maybe 2-3 pairs of those, and then they give you the military socks, green wool, not feeling good socks that you would have to
Mhm.
wear, And then they gave you the underwears. They weren't whitey tighties, man. They were brownie downy. I don't even know what you'd call them, but they're like brown. I don't know.
Hand down brownie. Hand down brownie.
No, I think they were brown because as you would go through basic training, there were some difficult times, and there was an accident. Then you were good to go. You didn't have to worry about anything. You just
No one would know what happened because they were
No.
already stained.
yeah, because it was already you're making your own camouflage. It was really good.
So
It
if
was
somebody
good.
like before you was like over the wall, is that what they call it? Over the wall, that they're like, hey, yeah, he left some skivvies.
AWOL?
Yeah, AWOL.
AWOL.
I was like,
over the wall.
I was saying over the wall. I was like, what's over the
AWOL.
wall?
Over the wall.
AWOL. So then they just say, hey, you got these skivvies and they're yours now. And you're like, well, this
Skivvies.
guy was like 6'8" and was a large dude. These don't fit me. I have to like fold them in half. Yeah.
Have to
Yeah,
paper
it was
clip
not
them
good.
in the back. Tie 'em
Yeah.
up.
That would not be good. Yeah, that was
That's interesting that you get, or they like actually stain stuff.
no. You got brand new stuff. Yeah, it was weird
I was
because
gonna say because a lot of it seems like most stuff has to be like uniform and pressed, and like
yeah.
even your bed has to be immaculate. But to give you like trashed underwear seems kind of
Yeah,
it seems
no.
government, but
No, they gave you brand new ones, but they at the time anyway. I can't speak for today, but at the time they did not care about comfort. I'll tell you that they care about longevity. But you got new stuff, but you like everything that you did in basic training. It was like they were herding cattle. Like you would go and you'd just stand in line and you'd go get your undies, and then you go the next. You'd have to wait, 50 guys, and then you get to go get your socks, and then you have to wait in line. Like yeah, like you took care of all that. But you remember you mentioned like the bed. Like I hated making my bed. Like they teach you how to do it, you learn it, and you have to have it made a certain way. And the drill sergeants would kind of come in randomly. And the way it worked is you had, like like in our particular barracks, there was several large rooms, and in those rooms is where most of the guys would be. I don't know how, but I ended up in like a room with just another guy. And so they could just come in, look at, and if your bed wasn't right, they would completely just tip it, dump it, and then you'd have to start all over from scratch. You better do it in this, amount of time, whatever it is. I did this down in 10 seconds. And if you're not, then you're doing push-ups for 50 minutes, that kind of thing. And so as a result, what I would do, and you have to imagine this was really, really toothpick skinny Joey, because I was 135. And the reason that matters is what I did is I made my bed perfect. Like I had it just right. And so then at night I would go in and I would literally, I would like get myself like underneath the, just barely, and like without untucking it a whole lot, just get right in the cover. And I would just lay like perfectly still all night. Cause I'm like, man, number
You're
one,
in a
I
hot
hate getting
pocket.
up. Yeah, it was, I was felt like a burrito. And I kept like, I kept thinking to myself, like, man, because I hated getting up early too. So it's like, this saves me time. I just wiggle out, get out of bed, get up. And on top of that, and I did this even when when I got to my first duty station, is I would wear my PT uniform to bed. So I could just get up, slip on my shoes, and I'm out the door to PT, like no problem. Just because I hated getting up crazy early. And in basic anyway, they run you ragged. You're going until 12 o'clock at night and expect to get up like at 3-4 in the morning type thing, and just get you going all day type thing. So it was like as much sleep as you can get, is what you do. So you slide in, slide out. You have to do a little bit of straightening out, but you're good to go. So anytime drill sergeant want to come, and I didn't have a problem. Not one time did they come in and say we weren't up to code on it. So
Dang,
we got really good.
that's
So
You
you were
worked the
kind of
veins.
like a late or a night owl too.
I've
I
always
mean,
been
you
on
still
it.
are kind of a night owl, but what
Yeah.
made you even want to go in, like knowing?
Oh, the military. So the reason I went into the military is because I quite honestly did not think that I had really a place for me anymore. It's because, and it sounds really weird. So backstory is that my parents had divorced at the time, a few years before. And before my parents had a divorce, I was like in folks may not know this, but I was my whole plan was to be a veterinarian. Like that's what I was gonna do. Like it was 100% like this is what I'm gonna do. Both my parents knew it, probably even my siblings knew it. Like this is what I was gonna do. And as a result, I even was taking at the time high school courses like honors biology and things like that, just to prep for it. And my parents, when they decided to divorce, I kind of went off into left field and just really just was not in a good spot at all. I started getting involved in all kinds of things I shouldn't have, drinking, and my mom to this day is like, "There's no way that this happened," and it did. But I would literally throw kegers, beer kegers, down in my basement all the time. I mean, there wasn't a time to where I didn't have beer kegers, and it was so bad that I would do like because I was a high school student, so I didn't really have a lot of money. And so at the time they had, so the beer kegers, usually somebody else would bring them because I would be like, you can bring it, that kind of thing. But I would get the cheap beer. And there's one called Natural Light, if anybody has ever heard of that. But it was the cheapest beer. I'm not even sure what it was made with, but I would get that. And I did this,
It wasn't beer.
it was beer, but it was like,
You just-
it was disgusting. It was cheap. It was just not good. And
Carbonated gas.
the whole yes, pretty much. And but I had this pretty good sized like this. I guess it'd be like a coffee table type thing. And I drank so much of that beer that I had a pyramid that went. I mean, that thing went close to the ceiling. I mean, and it was the wide thing. Like it just went crazy far up. And I remember telling my wife about that, and it feels weird to say that with you guys, Jen, about that. Mom, see, mom or Jen, see, I don't know, but anyway, I would
Mama Rhodes.
Mama Rhodes, there you go. I told Mama Rhodes about it, and it wasn't that she didn't believe me, but it was like I told her. I said because when I met her in when I was in Georgia, and I ended up meeting her, and as we got to date and all that kind of stuff. Well, when we got engaged, I brought her back to Colorado, and I told her, I said, listen, my brother still at the time owned the house that I grew up in. And I told her, I said, I bet you anything, we're going to go in there. And I could guarantee, because by that time I had thrown the pyramid away, but I was like, all I have to do is move a couch. And I said, I guarantee you're going to see beer cans and beer bottles. You're going to see them all over the place. And so we get there, and first thing I do is I go over, I said, watch. I lift it up. Sure enough, completely filled up with beer bottles and cans and stuff like that, which leads me to wonder why they never cleaned up in there. Oh, well, whatever. So, because I certainly didn't.
On the same avenue, I think you should probably tell, because I think it's hilarious, about telling Jen, your lovely wife, how you'd stopped smoking, and which you do not do now.
No.
But anyway,
There it is again.
I love that story
Yeah,
because I can actually see, I can see it visually in my
Mhm.
mind, you doing this.
Yeah, so
Put them on
Mama Rhodes
blast like that.
did not know that when we started dating, she didn't know that I still was drinking, and I was drinking pretty heavily still. And also I was smoking. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you care about this or not. Those who have been smokers or who currently are, I smoke Newports, very big brand in the military,
Hmm.
and at least at the time, who knows what it is now, but at the time it was a lot of guys in the military smoked Newports. Had a cool mint flavor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not promoting. Say no to
Cool
cigarettes.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I smoked, and I also chewed, chewing tobacco sometimes both at the same time, just depending on the day. And but my problem is that if you've ever smoked or been around anybody who smokes, you know that it just hangs around on you, like it just smells like you could just tell. And so here I am dating this girl, and she doesn't know that I'm still smoking and doing this. So I'm trying to come up with all these fascinating ways to not smoke, and so or not to get the smell on me on my fingers or things like that. And so I end up going to going home or going seeing her, and she's like, why do you smell like cigarette smoke? And I was like. Well, my friend, he was smoking, and he asked me to hold it for him.
So stupid.
And I said it with a straight face.
I just picture him with his arm. Like,
Yes.
here, let me hold that for you in another room. And the
There you
guy's
go.
on the other side of the wall.
On the other door.
Yeah.
Behind the door.
There you go. Okay. I want another hit. Okay, there you go.
If you ever smoked, you know how ridiculous that is. Somebody smokes, like it's their smoke. You don't pass
They're
your
very
smoke off
comfortable
to
with it.
somebody. Like here, hold this real quick. Like, why would you not just set it down? Why would you not like? And so, and she pretty much later was like, yeah, I knew that was just not true. And so, but
That's a bunch of baloney.
it was a big bunch of ballones. It was some ballones that was not some good ballones for anybody's.
I wanted me to hold his cigarette for him.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I was, and this is ADD talk because we went way bunny trail on that one. But hey, it's all good. So I went. I was like, after my parents' divorce, kind of went out there crazy. Like I was still a believer, by the way. I was definitely a believer, but I was just not living the way I should, and I just kind of went out on the deep end. Didn't really care a whole lot about doing the veterinary thing at that point. And my dad still, he's like, hey, I'll pay for your way. Like my other brothers, they just, none of them really had any like one desire to like go into college or anything like that. That was just never anything that they wanted to do. And they certainly, they were more jocks. Like my oldest brother, he was just, football really good, same thing with my second oldest, like just good at football, those kind of things. And they weren't, and you can be into sports obviously and be, love schooling and that kind of stuff. They didn't, they were more just jock types. And, but me, I was definitely more into that. But by that time when they divorced, I was like, I'm kind of done with, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And so it really threw me for just a big loop. And then as time progressed, started getting closer to graduation, and I pretty much ditched my entire junior year. Like, I don't think I got one credit hour my junior year because I ditched so much. And then, of course, I was almost going to, I was just about gonna not graduate. And the guidance counselor was like, "You're probably not going to graduate unless you do X, Y, and Z." And so the summer before, is when I found that out. And so I ended up doing a summer class. And then when the school started, I had a full load, and like all of my other friends were taking like 3 or 4 classes, and I had like 7 classes, and they were like bigger classes. It wasn't even sham classes, it was hard classes. And then on top of that, I had night school that I was going to. And then on top of that, there was a program at the time with Colorado. And I don't know if it's still there, but there's a program through Colorado that you take a certain course and then you could also get a job and get credit that way. So then I also got a job, and I just did all this stuff because I'm like, I have to graduate. And I still didn't even know that I was going to graduate. I don't know why the guidance counselor never asked or told me that, hey, by the way, you got enough credit hours. And I don't know why I wasn't smart enough to go, hey, do I got enough credit hours? Not really her fault, kind of on me. But I didn't know until the day I graduated. And then, of course, and the whole breaking the hills thing is a whole nother thing that I'll have to talk about one other day. But anyway, I didn't find out till that day, and they called my name, and I was so excited. And they called my name, and I was like, yes. But by that time, if you've ever been to a graduation, people are like, Joey M. Rhodes, and then people clap right away. Well, people had already clapped for me, there's so many of us. And then I got over there, and I was like, yeah. And then everybody was quiet. Like, oh, okay. But anyway,
Mom, I made it.
Yeah.
Mom,
look, I actually did it.
I'm special. I'm
Yes.
here.
Yes, indeed. And so I at any rate, I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do my senior year. I had no plans at that point to even go into the military. Well, during all that process, my mom started dating somebody who ended up being my stepdad, Dan. And I love him, great guy. He's passed away since. But at the time, I was like already starting to feel it was just weird. I was like, man, and my dad had already gotten married. I remarried. He got married pretty quick after the divorce. And then my mom starts seeing this guy, and then she gets, she was looking toward getting married. Then at that point, my mom ended up moving out, and she moved in with my stepdad. And then they gave the family house, because they said they were going to keep it in the family, to my oldest brother. So here I was living with my older brother and his family. And he had a wife, and he actually had I think 2 kids. They were really young at the time. And so here I am
Uncle
living at this
Joe.
house. Yeah, I was it was not good. I felt like I didn't have a place in the world and I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know anything like that. And so I had a friend who went in the I had 2 friends they decided to go in the military, one in the Air Force and one in the Army. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just try this. And so I originally went in and was going to go in as communications and got ready for that. It was going to be, one of those things, one of kind of a cool higher up position type thing. And then, something you could actually maybe make a career out of when you get out type thing. Well, then that's where the heel breaking thing happened. And so it stopped me from going in at that time. And then, so then I went back in, and they're like, after I got healed, it took like 3 months or more, and which is, I actually literally almost rolled the aisle at the graduation because I was still in a wheelchair the day before, and got released the day before from the doctor, and because otherwise I was in a wheelchair for like 3 months. But I ended up going down to the MEP station for the military, and they signed me up, and that's ultimately why. What I told everybody at the time was because I ended up getting the GI Bill plus the college fund, and like a special fund thing that they gave me, like an additional 25 grand for college, and I was like, that's what I told everybody I did it for, and actually the Lord used that. I ended up paying for my bachelor's at Rocky Mountain Bible College and Seminary, like the whole thing with it. But yeah, it was. Oh man, that was basically why I got in the military. But yeah, so
Do you think a lot of people did that back then? Like their reason for going in is just don't know what else to do, and they're like,
yeah,
I could do this.
there were some guys um, I was really surprised because when I went in, there was actually several guys that were like they just loved the country and they just wanted to serve. Like that, I thought it was really cool. Like there wasn't a ton, but there was many different reasons. Like there's this one guy who was, yeah, I think at the time, which was older. It doesn't sound older, but he was like 27, and most of us were 17, 18, 19, like all kind of that age. And this guy here, he was like 27, 28. And he went in because he had a horrible past. Like he had gotten himself into trouble, and he just job is just really difficult for him. And so he's like, I'm just gonna go. And he was gung ho. He's like, oh, this is my career now. This is what I'm gonna do. So he was like hardcore, ready to go in. And yeah, just different reasons for a bunch of different guys. But some of the guys, yeah, they're like me. Like I just didn't know what to do, so I thought I'd just go in. So all right, go for it. So, but I was definitely I was very honored to serve my country, and I'm glad that I did it. But it definitely was not the thing for me. So by the time I only served 3 years, so by the time those 3 years came up, I was like, ah, I'm ready. It's time to get out. So, but
Time to go.
yeah, so
Hmm.
it was good. Very, very, very glad I went in, primarily because I met Mama Rhodes, and now I have 5 awesome kids, and it's good. It's good.
And you
So,
never went like over the road or over the wall or anything
I never
like
went
that?
over the wall.
You
Stayed away
AWOL
from
nowhere?
that.
Over?
Okay.
Did you go over a wall?
I went over a wall.
Over AWOL.
Nope, nope, nope. I didn't. I knew a couple guys who had done that, and that was just a big no-no. See, what people don't understand is like, at least at the time, like anything you could do, you could actually get yourself in trouble with. And like something as simple as getting a sunburn. Like I could have gotten in trouble for it because, we're called GIs. That means government issued, meaning by extension that we were government property. So if you hurt yourself in some way, you have just damaged government property, and now you're going to have to take a consequence because now you're going to be out of work for X amount of days. And so when I got into my first duty station in Georgia, I had some friends that they ended up buying a car, and they're like, "Hey, let's go down to Panama City, Florida." It wasn't far from where we were. Like, okay, so we go down there, and we're idiots because we had no plan. Like we were literally, we go down there and we're like, "Hey, let's go." We didn't even think about a motel or anything. And at one point, I was like, one of us was like, I think it was me. I was like, "Where are we sleeping?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll just sleep in the car." I was like, "Okay." so so we walked around all day, and I didn't put any sunblock on whatsoever. And come the evening time, they were like getting ready to go to some clubs and this and that. And I was like, I just started getting sick. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, I had sun poisoning. I mean, I was just sicker than a dog, didn't feel like I just wasn't hungry. And I was just sick to my stomach and had a fever. I'm pretty sure I had a fever. And so I just crashed in the car because we didn't get a hotel. But anyway, crashed in the car, and then about 3:30 ish in the morning, the fever broke, and so I got up just ravenously hungry, and I looked outside, and there was this like Pizza Hut over there, and I'm like, maybe they'll be open. That was stupid. I don't even know why I thought that. And I went over there, and I was like knocking on the windows, and there were actually people there, but they just did like delivery. So I was like, please
Deliver to my car.
Please let me in. I'm so hungry, and they didn't let me in. So, but I was an idiot. As a result of this bad sunburn, go back on Monday for formation. And I told the sergeant over me, I was like, I don't even know if I could. I don't know if I can even put on my uniform. Like I had blisters like all over my shoulders and my back and my neck and everywhere. I was like, I don't know if I can do face even. And I was like, I don't know if I could do it. He's like, you have to be in formation. He's like, I'll cover for you after that, but you have to be in formation. Oh man, that was the most painful. Oh, that was the most painful time. You had to go down there, and I had to put on the BDUs and stand at parade arrest, and attention, and every single movement was like death. Like, oh, and then of course you stand in attention, and sometimes the guy leading it will be like, drop and give me 50, and just that kind of thing. And it's like, and I think he did that, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Sound like a dying llama.
It was a dying llama. No, that's a goat.
Close enough.
What does a
It's
llama
the
sound
same
like?
species.
What does a llama sound like?
I've never heard a llama.
Anybody know what a llama
I
sounds
used to
like?
know somebody with
No.
llamas. You don't know what they sound like?
I know they spit.
They do spit. I couldn't even. Oh, man, the person that I knew had a llama. The llama would never wouldn't get close to me. It'd stay away from me. What? That was the same place that I went to. They had fainting goats, and I was.
Try your best.
Yeah, it's a fainting goat. Isn't the first thought in somebody's mind is like, I want to make it faint? Like, I want to see what happens with this. You say fainting goat, to me, it's like, let's see what this thing does. So that was my thought. I'm like, I'm going to get this thing to do this. So I go and I, do one of those kind of things. And I kept doing it. I did it probably 15 times. I had my kids with me. And then they would try it. And because what happens with the fainting goat, it's not like they literally like they're in their brain, what they do is they get so scared that their system locks their whole body up. So they can't, they just fall over. And so, yeah, it's kind of cruel, but funny. And so they kept doing it, but the stupid goats wouldn't faint for me. It was so bad that I went like way out in the pastures that they had, and just like I literally like crawled and snuck. I was like hiding out. I was trying to, because I didn't want them to see me.
You're a puma.
Yes, I was a puma. And then finally, and nothing. And I couldn't even get close to the stupid llama. Wouldn't even let me get
didn't
close.
like you.
No, it didn't. It wouldn't come next. I don't know what the deal is. So I don't know what they sound like. Who knows what a llama sounds like?
Probably just a lot of grunting.
Yeah. Very much.
Another spit.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I kind of did that once. Same kind of thing, but not with goats. But we were up at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo up in Colorado Springs. This is when the kids are small. And we went into the mammal area. There's like signs everywhere. Don't stare at the mammals, right? So what do? First thing we go in, and his ringtail, are going up this, and I'm just staring down everybody. Chimpanzees, I get really close to the glass, and I just stare them, and the wife's like, "No, don't do that. It says not to do that." And I just thought it was hilarious, and at first nothing happened, but then all of a sudden I did that to a gorilla, and it was a female, and she was right by the window, and she was licking something I thought was a small coconut. It was not a small coconut, and so I'm like staring at, and then she kind of looked at me through the glass. I'm like, and giving the eyeball stare, and then she just regurgitated now it was the size of a coconut, and it looked like it had hair and stuff on it.
Ew.
And she looked at me and just went, so looking at it, and I'm like, whoa. The kids are like, gross. So I thought, they're like, stop doing that, Dad. We don't know what kind of reaction. So I went to the orangutan, which was just across from the gorilla, and they're enormous beasts.
Mhm.
But it was just on this like little swing or something. It was just looking at me, and so I'm like, I'm staring it down. I'm staring it down. And then it just looked at me, went like this, and pulled out, and it was connected. It was a piece of snot connected,
Oh.
and pulled it out, and it's still connected. It
Oh.
hasn't broke. Put it in its mouth and went, and it.
Oh.
The kids are like, "Stop, Dad, please stop." And so we're heading
Oh my
outside, and there's those bamboos that bamboos, yeah, that had the
Oh, yeah.
really colorful snout.
Yes, yeah.
Snout. They're almost like rainbow colored. They're kind of really pretty, actually.
Uh-huh.
Their skin's kind of a grayish blue. And it wasn't outside, but I see it kind of in its little hammock or whatever inside, and it looks, and I'm like, and it raises up, and it's moving, and it's doing things that I won't mention, but because monkeys do that. And so it came out, and it was going crazy. Yeah, it was going crazy. You probably won't want to use this material. Now that I think about it. It was pleasuring itself. And right when it came out, and it was,
No.
and it started going crazy. It was going for me on the gate, like the fence, like trying to reach me. But yeah, you couldn't get through, and it was, "Ah!" And right then there was this group of old ladies, probably at least 80s. They could barely walk, and they had a guide, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is," and he's given the technical name of this baboon. This is whatever, such and such. And they looked around, and here's this baboon doing that, and they're like, "Ah!" They just started screaming. My kids were like, "Dad, that's so messed up. We gotta get out of here." So I took all the kids, and Noah was really small. He was probably, I don't know,
That's funny.
5 or something, 6. And he kept looking back. "What is it? What's going on? What's that monkey doing?" Like, "Here, look straight, son. You'll trip and fall." And got them all out. They still remember that.
Yeah, that's
Still
pretty
bring that.
memorable.
It's pretty
Pretty
traumatic.
traumatic. I was gonna-
Yeah,
A freak zoo.
that's what you get when you get a freaked out dad. I just had no idea that would be the reactions, but
That's funny.
they don't like going with me to zoos anymore.
That's funny.
Not after that.
No,
So
indeed.
That's so funny. They had to have signs because it's happened so many times. They're like, our animals are freaks. Don't look them in the eyes.
Yeah, that's true. Like they had to actively print out get signs made because their animals were freaks. That's good.
Razorback. I think that's what it was. Razorback
Oh.
baboon. Yeah, it was
Yeesh.
weird.
Those are the
Ah.
things from the Wizard of Oz. Those things will mess you up.
Yeah, and all 3
Those
of my
monkey
kids
things.
are traumatically affected.
For months afterwards, they keep waking up in the middle of the night. No, monkey!
Okay.
Okay, we're okay.
Baboon.
But at least they didn't, I've always heard, because this happened to my grandmother, where she was staring down some chimpanzees, and they started throwing poo at her.
Oh.
And so she never did that again. But I never had that experience. I probably should have had that happen, so I wouldn't be so stupid.
All it takes is one time.
That's right.
The irony of a sign that says "Don't stare at the animals"
Yeah.
when you're going to look
At
at
a
the
zoo.
animals at a zoo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it said like eye contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't make
So
eye contact.
Yeah,
with them.
don't stare at their eyes or something
You
like
stare at
that.
them until they look at you, then you pretend you're not looking at them.
Yeah. They look the other way.
Back at them.
That was good.
What a group.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you'd be cutting out a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this whole part.
Leave it all in. All
Yeah,
good stuff.
we've got material to remove him now.
We have grounds to kick him out.
Yeah, it's in his words, quote unquote.
Hey, what does this say in the bulletin? Voting to remove Pastor Noah.
Yeah.
What is
Special
that's-
meeting?
What is
new.
this? I don't know what that's
Yeah.
about. Oh, that's funny.
Life.
Oh, man. Well,
Good stuff.
cool. I think we'll wrap it up here. Thanks
Alrighty.
for joining.
Yes.
Indeed.
Glad
Glad to
we
be
could
here.
get you in, talk to you. It's fun.
Yes.
Have to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah. Good to go.
Once you've done your onslaught of other people,
Yeah.
circle back around.
Everybody else, pick the OGs back up.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good. It's good. I like it a lot.
But yeah, so we'll be on Instagram and YouTube and it's called Spotify.
Oh, nice.
Should be good. We'll have 3 bases covered and then some stuff on Facebook. So should get lots of coverage. People should be able to do whatever they want,
Nice.
watch us wherever they want to.
They
So
can come in and fellowship with us.
on a Friday, because it's totally a Friday.
It's totally a
It's definitely a Friday.
Friday.
Everything you wanted to know about your pastors, we're afraid to ask.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
good.
good.
Yeah, we've
Put
come
that as
pretty
a
far.
caption.
I mean, we've talked defending from knives, inappropriate things with
Our kung fu pastor.
Kung fu pastor.
I still want to do like, you remember the old Dos Equis commercials with the guy, kind of grayish, black hair, the most interesting man in the world.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
And just the lines they have. I've actually written up some. I just thought would be hilarious, like to have a wig and put that on, be like, the most interesting pastor in the world. Santa Claus sits on his lap. Stuff like that. And show him in the background, like me doing some martial arts or something, or climbing a rock cliff or something.
You
It would
could
just be
too with your
funny.
colorful past. You definitely could do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like just beat that dude with a Bowie knife up. Like, dang.
Yeah, he lost.
think
he lost a good knife.
I think it'd be cool, like to kung fu fight Santa.
Yeah, Santa's probably got some martial arts skills.
That's true. That's true.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Even Santa.
Yeah.
It doesn't mix well.
Fast as lightning. It's sad that I would know that song.
It's a good
It's
song.
a good
man.
song.
Good song. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I love Bruce Lee. I had a poster of him.
Yeah, he was actually.
Bruce Lee.
He didn't
was-
even weigh that much, and he was just ripped.
Mhm.
He's quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super fast.
Yeah. He was pretty crazy. Amazing. Pretty sure I could have done what he did.
Just
had
with
the
one
weight.
leg. Who's that? Claude Van Damme. Who's that guy?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen stuff like Bloodsport where he's doing
yeah,
the
the
splits,
splits.
but he's
Yeah.
like he's not just straight. He's
I
kind of
know.
going. And
I know.
I hurt when I saw it. I literally hurt.
Yeah.
Oof.
But then I watched another thing, and I didn't see the whole flick on this one, but he just was doing a side kick, and
Mm.
he was down, and he had his foot, and his foot was like at this guy's face. He was just like right there, and he was just holding it. And I
Oof.
thought, wow, my goodness, this guy's kind of serious.
Yeah. Yeah. He's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Well,
Coming in.
thanks, Jared.
Yeah,
you,
thanks, Pastor
son
Noah,
son of Pastor Joey.
son of
Son
Bruce Rhodes, son of I don't
Son
even
of
know who
Bruce
he is.
Rhodes. Yeah.
That'd be
Ben-
weird if we
Ben
still did that
Bruce.
today, right?
Yeah.
Refer to people by the son of the son of the son of.
I
who,
love that. I
whatever.
wish we were doing that still. It's
I
awesome.
wish people had cooler names though,
Yeah.
because it's cool like watching medieval movies and then I've like real cool names, Sir Anthony McRoundy or whatever their names were. Just
That's
not very
kinda the-
cool names nowadays.
Now I heard this, and I think it's pretty accurate. I've seen it too. That like the Scottish and the Irish, that when they do Mick, whatever,
Mhm.
it means son of. Mick means son of. So like my last name would be son of Kelvin.
Oh,
So I thought that
I
was
didn't know. That's
interesting.
kind of cool.
Yeah, and how you tell the difference between Scottish and Irish is the C is a high C.
Oh,
That's Scottish. If it's low, then it's Irish.
Hmm.
So you could have the same name in both places. And they
Oh.
would be even related, but how you knew one was Scottish and one was Irish is, the high C or the low C.
yours is Scottish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's high C.
Okay. So how does it pronounce then technically?
McKelvin. Yeah. But when I pronounce it, everybody that does that, they typically you don't hear the ick. You hear the McKelvin.
Yeah.
McKelvin.
It's just M.
Where's the Mc?
Kelvin.
I want you to do it like with a Scottish accent.
I double morning to you. It's McKelvin.
Oh, nice. And even in a sultry little
That's right.
sounding voice.
That's right.
The quietest Scotsman I've ever heard.
Yes. Sneak up on ya. That'll whoop on ya. It's just constant. I'm a whoop on ya.
What? I can't hear you.
I'm gonna whoop on ya. Whoop on ya. Mick whoopin'. That's what you're gonna get is a Mick whoopin'. And Mick whoopin'. Son of a whoopin'.
I can't take you seriously when you whisper all the time.
Yeah.
You know what Kelvin means?
I used to. I don't anymore.
I was just curious.
Yeah, coat of arms. Yeah, but well, you know the story. It's not really my name anyway. So
yeah,
you need to
share
sort it
that.
past. Yeah, so for another time.
Yeah.
Another time.
Another time. I'm gonna whoop on ya.
It's a little creepy when you say it like that. But